As of this moment in time, September 20th, 2025, Edmonton Oilers superstar Connor McDavid is still unsigned beyond the upcoming year. He makes $12.5 million a year. He has for the last 7 years. He's been pretty good, I'd say. One of the best the NHL has ever seen. But, I'm starting to get the sense that Oilers fans are getting a little bit wary as to where this is going to go. Is he going to stay? Will he re-sign? Does he believe in this team enough to commit the next 3, 4, 8 years with the Edmonton Oilers? Who knows? But the thing is, when it comes to the Connor McDavid situation, there have been a lot of people going through the stages of grief, despite the fact that the guy hasn't even left yet. I say yet, it's not inevitable, but it's not guaranteed to not happening, if you catch my drift. Which is why you're starting to see NHL insiders like our very beloved Frank Seravalli going out there onto the big show, talking about some teams. Well, it's the big show. Dun, 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 dun. This is what Frank Seravalli said in the program. We're going to react to this over here. Frank Seravalli regarding a Connor McDavid potential free agency war. You're talking about a player of this caliber? You're thinking Leafs, Rangers, Blackhawks, Kings. I don't think he spent much time thinking about that. I do think McDavid resigns. And I'll say this, the tweet concludes at the end, oh yeah, Connor McDavid's not going to leave. He's going to stay. He's going to be an Edmonton Oiler. But the funny part is, a lot of people are focusing on those teams. Frank, you're out to lunch. Frank, you're this. Frank, you're that. How could you say this about that team and not include this other team, etc., etc., etc.? So let's talk about each of these 4 teams that Seravalli dives into here. Now, of course, he concludes at the end saying that he doesn't think McDavid spent enough time thinking about all these teams. He does think that McDavid resigns. But there are conversations to have about these big market organizations. Obviously, the Toronto Maple Leafs makes a ton of sense from anybody who buys into the hometown dream type of angle here. But the question is, could the Maple Leafs afford Connor McDavid? They had their core 4 of the past few years. That didn't really work out all too well. They paid a few guys big money and gave everybody else everything else that they had available on their salary cap. But now, with the departure of Mitch Marner and John Tavares taking a much cheaper deal than before, is there an opportunity for Toronto to free up the money to sign Connor McDavid? McDavid and Matthews on the same team sounds like a total cheat code, by the way. If you are in any sort of belief that a Toronto McDavid link is even worth thinking about, then let me know in the comment section below. Is this worth your time? And furthermore, is it worth our time to think about any of these other teams as well? The Rangers, Blackhawks, or Kings? Of course, New York has to enter the picture. They've got a pretty big free agent to be in their own system as well, and Artemi Panarin. Who knows if they keep him? But I would say, if Panarin ends up leaving somehow, and the Rangers miss out on Kirill Kaprizov, they would all of a sudden have a ton of extra money available on their payroll. And I'm not saying that Connor McDavid does the old Wayne and goes from Edmonton, ending off his career in New York at some point, but I don't know, McDavid in New York, it sounds like a pretty big, grand stage for Connor McDavid. The environment, the celebrity status. I'm not saying he'd embrace it the same way like other Rangers of yesteryear have. We all recognize how Henrik Lundqvist's public image has been shaped over the years in New York. I'm not saying Connor McDavid does that necessarily, goes on TV and just becomes beloved by the entire city. But hey, New York's a big place after all. Maybe he doesn't need to do that. Also, the idea of having McDavid play alongside a JT Miller is just hilarious to me. Like, I don't know, as a Canucks fan who has seen this entire thing go down the past few years between Edmonton and Vancouver, especially the playoff battles and the animosity there. McDavid and Miller together would be so funny, in my opinion. Then talking about some of these other teams here too, a lot of people have been focusing on the Blackhawks. The fact that Seravalli even mentioned Chicago, as if McDavid wouldn't be maximizing the amount of revenue he'd be able to get if he played on the Blackhawks. Sure, they need to re-sign Connor Bedard, they need to give that guy an extension, but come on. Same way, thinking about McDavid and Matthews would be nuts. What about McDavid and Bedard? Two generational talents side by side. It's like Sid and Lemieux. Except quite different circumstantially, and age-wise, really. But McDavid and Bedard together would be such a lethal combo, he'd finally be able to get Bedard's point numbers up. Bedard might be able to score 100 points if he plays with Connor McDavid. Not that he wasn't capable of doing that otherwise, it's a lot easier to do that when you're playing with McDavid versus with Jason Dickinson, for example. And the cap would definitely work out as well. Could the Blackhawks get another version of Taves and Kane, except a little bit different with McDavid and Bedard instead? I get that there are stylistic differences, but still, the impact of the players on the ice would be akin to those glory Chicago Blackhawks days. And a lot of folks would say that on the up and up, this team is one to pay attention to. They've got their D-core sorted out with these young guys, they've got some longer-term contracts handed out to players that are reasonably good at reasonably young ages, and they got their goaltending secure with Spencer Knight in there. Say what you want about his consistency, but the Chicago Blackhawks, they're not looking to sell anytime soon. They want to see what they've got with the guys on the roster right now. They want to be competitive, and if Connor McDavid comes knocking on their door asking for the max amount of money he can get, I mean, of course, they're going to say yes, right? Then you talk about the LA Kings, and I think you talk about that Gretzky angle? Yeah, no, it comes true with the LA Kings. McDavid to LA to replicate what Wayne did all those years ago in one of the biggest transactions in any sport ever. And McDavid playing alongside of Kevin Fiala, for example, would be interesting. Of course, he would be the Anze Kopitar replacement because it was already revealed that this upcoming season will be Kopitar's last. He's been such an amazing piece in the LA Kings organization, but replacing him with McDavid and having that Kuzmenko-McDavid connection alongside of Adrian Kempe, sure, that line rolls off the tongue a little bit easier, and it's a lot better to come up with nicknames than Kuzmenko, Kopitar, and Kempe, but Connor McDavid in that mix would definitely make the LA-Edmonton rivalry all that much more interesting. Imagine seeing them meet in the first round every single year in the playoffs, but instead of it being McDavid and Draisaitl versus LA, it's McDavid versus Draisaitl. And maybe some years LA ends up winning, other years Edmonton wins, and then the league goes back to 1-8 because Gary Bettman inevitably leaves as the commissioner of the NHL. Who knows what the future has in store, but really, Connor McDavid could go anywhere. As long as the teams are able to open up the cap space, as long as McDavid himself expresses a desire to go there, it'll happen. It's all up to him. The easy route would be, what Frank Seravalli says, is he just stays. That's it. I think if he stays, the majority of NHL fans will be like, okay, yeah, there you go, it happened finally. But that small, let's say 5% chance that Connor McDavid ends up leaving Edmonton, opens himself up to free agent status, or demands a trade somewhere for a playoff run and then goes to free agency, the odd, small chance that that provides gives us ample opportunities to talk about the possibilities here. So if you're a fan of the Blackhawks, the Kings, the Rangers, or the Maple Leafs, I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about the idea of Connor McDavid potentially joining your team? And what are your thoughts on Frank Seravalli's commentary on the matter? Do you think it's actually worth talking about, or not really? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Leave a like as well if you had enjoyed this video, or if you got to the end, just leave a rating in general. It really helps us out with the algorithm. I appreciate that. Thoughts in the comment section below about Connor McDavid. I hope you enjoyed this video. Sign on, and bye.